Elias Ward had never liked the quiet. In the vast human colony on Cygnus 4, quiet usually meant trouble. He lived in a small, metal-paneled house on the edge of Sector 7, where the soft hum of the life support systems was often the only sound. He was used to the isolation. Most humans in the colony kept to themselves, and alien neighbors were rarer still. But he didn't mind. Quiet suited him just fine. It was 2:03 a.m. when the knock came. At first, Elias thought it was the wind. But when it repeated 3 firm, deliberate taps, he froze. A late-night visitor was never good news in the colonies. He glanced at the small clock on his workbench. 2, 3. Definitely not the hour for casual chatting. Hesitantly, he pulled open the door. Standing there was Saren Valcara, his neighbor. Her figure glowed softly. A natural bioluminescent shimmer running along the edges of her skin, a feature of her species. Normally, her lights were dim but steady. Tonight, they flickered weakly, like dying stars. Elias had seen her only a few times before, always polite, always distant. She had been quiet since her mate's passing 3 months ago. "Saren," Elias said, his voice half sleeping, half surprised. "It's late. Is everything okay?" She hesitated, looking down at her hands. Then, slowly, she raised her glowing eyes to his. There was a deep sorrow there, but also something else. Urgency. "I need your help," she said finally. Her voice was soft but steady, a careful balance between sadness and determination. "It's about my late partner, and something he left behind." Elias blinked. He had heard the rumors of her mate's work. He knew he shouldn't pry, but curiosity and concern pushed him forward. "Come in," he said. Stepping aside, Saren hesitated for a moment before entering. The door closed behind her with a soft hiss. Elias noticed the usual glow of her markings was dimmer than he had ever seen. It made her look fragile, almost human in her sorrow. They sat down at his small kitchen table. The room smelled faintly of metal and oil from the workbench in the corner. He offered her a cup of synthesized tea, and she accepted, her fingers brushing his briefly. The touch was light, but it carried a strange weight. Saren paused. "Before he died, my partner left something for me. Something important. He said it should never fall into the wrong hands." She reached into a small satchel and pulled out a device no bigger than a human fist. It glowed faintly, almost like it was alive. Elias leaned in. "What is it?" "It's a memory core," she said. "A recording of his thoughts. His last work, encrypted in a way that only a human mind can unlock." Elias frowned. "Why humans?" Saren's lips curved slightly in a sad smile. "Your species is unpredictable. And that unpredictability is sometimes the only thing that can bypass certain security measures. He trusted humans to think beyond rules, to act creatively. That is why I am here." Elias studied the device carefully. The memory core was smooth, featureless, and faintly warm to the touch. He had seen alien technology before, but this felt different, like it held a presence, a purpose, almost a mind of its own. "Why now?" he asked cautiously. "Why come to me?" "Because it's urgent," Saren said, her glowing eyes meeting his. "The interstellar vigil. My partner worked for them. He discovered something dangerous. He left this for me so I could protect it. And I cannot do it alone." Elias swallowed. He had heard stories of rogue factions within the interstellar vigil. They were elite, powerful, and ruthless. A wrong step could mean death, or worse. Yet, despite the fear creeping into his mind, he felt a strange pull. There was a sense of purpose here, one he hadn't felt in years. "All right," he said finally. "I'll help. But I don't know what I'm getting into." Saren's glow pulsed softly. "That is all he ever asked for," she whispered. For the next hour, they worked together in the small kitchen. Elias had a small console at his bench, which he modified to interface with the alien memory core. The device pulsed gently as if it were alive, responding to his adjustments. He noticed that Saren's markings grew brighter the longer they worked, a sign, he later learned, of trust and hope. When the interface finally connected, a holographic projection sprung from the core. It was not an image of a person, but a swirling, three-dimensional map of data streams, codes, and encrypted messages. Elias felt a wave of awe. The scale of the work was staggering. "This," he murmured. "This is massive." "Yes," Saren said softly. "It contains proof of a conspiracy within the Vigil. My partner discovered that some factions plan to use humans as scapegoats for their own agenda. If they succeed, the colony and maybe all human settlements will be in danger." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. The interstellar vigil was supposed to protect colonies, not threaten them. He looked at Saren. "And this? You want me to decrypt it?" Her glow dimmed slightly. "Yes. Only a human mind can do it. The memory core will not reveal itself fully to any alien." Elias took a deep breath. This was more than just curiosity now. This was a responsibility, one that could decide the fate of the colony, maybe even the galaxy. He glanced at Saren. She looked tired, vulnerable, yet resolute. Somehow, he trusted her. Somehow, he knew that saying yes was the right thing to do. He began working. Lines of code, alien symbols, and encrypted sequences flowed across his console. Hours passed, or maybe minutes, he couldn't tell. The night outside his small house was silent, except for the occasional hum of a passing transport ship. Saren watched him closely. "Do you feel it?" she asked suddenly. Elias paused. "Feel what?" "The memory core. It's not just data. It's alive, in a way. It senses intent, trust, fear. You need to remain focused." He nodded, adjusting his focus. As he worked, he realized she was right. The core responded to more than just logic. It responded to emotion, to intent, to the way he thought. It was alive, and it trusted him, trust he could not betray. Finally, with a final keystroke, the holographic projection shifted. It became clear, readable proof of a conspiracy, detailed plans, and names of those involved. Elias leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. Saren exhaled softly. "You did it," she whispered. Her glow brightened. He would be proud. Elias looked at her. "Now what?" "Now," Saren said, her voice firm. "We prepare. They will come for the colony soon, and we must be ready to fight, to protect what is ours, and to prove that humans, your kind, cannot be underestimated." Elias swallowed hard. He had never fought a war in space. He had never faced a galactic conspiracy. But somehow, he felt ready. Something about humanity, their creativity, their unpredictability, their stubbornness made him feel that victory was possible. Saren's glow pulsed gently beside him. For the first time in months, she looked like herself, not just a grieving widow, but a leader, a partner in a fight that would shape the future. And Elias knew, with a certainty that startled him, that this late-night knock had changed everything. The colony, the galaxy, and even his own life would never be the same again. Elias couldn't sleep that night. The holographic projection from the memory core still hovered in his mind, its glowing streams of data swirling in impossible patterns, each sequence carrying the weight of a hidden truth. He paced his small home, running a hand over the edge of his workbench. Saren's words echoed in his ears. Humans were unpredictable. But that unpredictability could now become the colony's greatest weapon. By sunrise, Elias was exhausted. But he knew the real work was just beginning. Saren, sensing his restlessness, sat across from him, her bioluminescent glow steady but soft. "We cannot wait," she said quietly. "The rogue faction won't hesitate to strike. If the colony is destroyed, the Vigil will blame humans. The galaxy may never forgive us. Elias rubbed his temples. So what exactly is in this memory core? I saw some of it last night, but I don't fully understand. Respast. Saren took a deep breath. It contains evidence of a plan, a carefully hidden conspiracy within the interstellar vigil. Certain factions are manipulating events to justify a preemptive attack on human colonies. They will make it look like humans caused the problem, forcing other star systems to turn against us. Her eyes, still glowing faintly, looked into Elias's with a mix of urgency and sadness. Your species is viewed as unpredictable, reckless, dangerous. They want to use that against you. Elias swallowed hard. He had always known that humanity was underestimated in the galaxy, but he had never imagined it could lead to this. The annihilation of an entire colony, orchestrated by those who were supposed to protect it. So, he said finally, we need to stop them. But how? They're vigil officers, they have ships, weapons, intelligence networks. And we're just us. Saren's glow pulsed brighter, a sign of determination. We are not just us. Your creativity and adaptability make humans unique. We can combine your ingenuity with my knowledge of vigil systems. Together, we have a chance. Elias nodded slowly, realizing the weight of her words. Humans had survived against odds that no other species could. If anyone could turn scraps of technology and clever thinking into a solution, it would be them. They began by analyzing the data more closely. The memory core revealed detailed logs of vigil operations, encrypted messages, and intercepted communications that suggested the rogue faction had already planted agents on the colony. Elias felt a chill run through him as he realized the danger was closer than he had imagined. These are names, Saren said, pointing at the holographic display. Some are vigil officers, some are civilian collaborators. They have already started organizing within the colony. If we do nothing, chaos will come from within, before they even launch their ships. Elias studied the list. Among the names, some were familiar colleagues he had met, neighbors he had waved to in passing. The thought that anyone could be part of such a plan was unsettling. How do we know who to trust? He asked. Saren shook her head slowly. We don't. We can only prepare, observe, and act when necessary. Trust must be earned. And sometimes, humans and aliens alike will have to rely on instinct. Elias felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He had never asked for a role like this. He had been a systems engineer, a quiet man content with his workbench and his thoughts. Yet here he was, thrust into a battle that could determine the fate of thousands. First, Saren said, we need allies, people who understand the colony. People who can move without attracting attention. We need a small, trusted group. Elias nodded. I can reach out to a few people. I know some engineers, and a few others who are loyal to the colony. Good, Saren said. Time is short. They will strike soon, and when they do, we must be ready to act faster than they expect. Over the next few hours, they quietly contacted potential allies. Elias used encrypted channels and old colony communication networks to avoid detection. By midday, a small group had assembled in secret. 3 humans, a retired pilot, an engineer, and a medic, along with Saren herself. They gathered in Elias's house, which quickly became their makeshift command center. Elias spread out the holographic projection on a table. We need to understand their plan completely, he said. If we can anticipate their moves, we have a chance to stop them. Saren nodded. The rogue faction intends to create a false attack scenario, blaming humans for sabotage. Then they will move to neutralize the colony while presenting themselves as heroes to the rest of the Vigil and allied systems. The group listened in silence. The plan was terrifying in its simplicity and efficiency. But as Elias watched his human allies, he realized something important. Fear was not their response. They were focused, analytical, ready to act. This, Saren said later, was the strength of humans, the ability to confront overwhelming odds with ingenuity, rather than despair. We will need to defend the colony, Elias said. But not with brute force. We have too few people. We need to be clever. The retired pilot, a wiry man named Harris, spoke up. We can use the old satellite network. Some of the defense drones are still active, but outdated. We can retrofit them, trick the attackers into thinking they're stronger than they are. Elias's mind raced. We can also use the gravity fields around the colony for defensive maneuvers. With some calculations, we could create artificial obstacles, launch drones through gravity slingshots to intercept enemy ships. Saren's glow brightened, reflecting excitement she hadn't shown in months. Yes. And I can access some of my late partner's contacts within the Vigil. I can manipulate data streams, create diversions, delay communications. We have a fighting chance if we act quickly. For hours, they planned. Each detail, each simulation, was tested and retested in Elias's small command center. By evening, they had a rough strategy. Gather evidence of the rogue faction's plan to broadcast to the galaxy, use human ingenuity and alien assistance to delay and confuse the enemy, mobilize the colony's limited defenses creatively to maximize impact. As night fell again, Elias stepped outside for a moment, looking up at the faint stars through the colony's protective dome. He felt a strange mixture of fear and determination. This was bigger than anything he had faced. But as he observed the stars, he thought of humanity, the species that had survived deserts, oceans, wars, and famine, and he felt a spark of confidence. Saren joined him silently, her glow gentle. "You are ready," she said softly. "I see it in you. And I see it in them." She gestured toward the small group inside. Humans fight in ways others cannot. They create solutions in moments of desperation, and they never give up. Elias nodded, feeling the truth in her words. "Then we'll do it. We'll save the colony." Saren's glow dimmed slightly, a sign of both relief and caution. "It will not be easy. They are dangerous, intelligent, and patient. But together, humans and I, we can be unpredictable. And unpredictability is their weakness." The two of them returned inside. By midnight, they had finalized their plans for the first phase. Monitoring the colony, identifying the infiltrators, and preparing the defense systems. Elias, exhausted but alert, realized that the memory core had done more than reveal a conspiracy. It had ignited a spark of action. A call for humans to prove themselves once again, and as he looked at Saren, he knew the coming days would change everything. The rogue Vigil faction would not expect humans to fight with creativity, courage, and collaboration. And that was exactly the advantage Elias intended to use. For the first time, Elias understood why Saren had come to him. It was not just about unlocking the memory core, it was about showing that humans, unpredictable and inventive, were a force the galaxy could never ignore. The colony's fate hung in the balance, and humanity's ingenuity was about to be tested like never before. Elias glanced once more at the glowing projection of the memory core, now stabilized on his console. It was a warning, a blueprint, and a challenge all at once. He took a deep breath. The next move was theirs, and they would not fail. The colony seemed peaceful from the outside, its silver domes reflecting the dim light of distant stars. But inside, Elias's small house buzzed with quiet tension. The makeshift command center was crowded now with humans and a few aliens who had quietly offered their help. Each one knew that the coming days would test them in ways they could not yet imagine. Elias hunched over the holographic projection, tracing lines of code and data flows with his fingers. Saren stood beside him, her glow steady but soft, a visual reminder of her presence and determination. "We need to know everything," she said, her voice calm but urgent. "The rogue faction will strike soon. If we cannot anticipate them, the colony will be lost." Elias nodded. "We need eyes everywhere. Sensors, communications, even maintenance bots. Anything that can give us information without alerting the Vigil agents." Harris, the retired pilot, leaned over the table. "I can get the old satellites online. They're outdated, but enough to monitor key sectors. We can use them to track movements and pick up unusual signals. "And I can help," said Lila, the engineer, a young woman with quick hands and a sharp mind. "We can retrofit some of the colony's maintenance drones. They can carry small sensors, even disrupt communications if we need them to. Nobody will notice until it's too late. And we can sign. We can to this." Elias looked at her. "Good. That gives us a small network of eyes and ears. We can monitor the colony without tipping anyone off." Saren's glow pulsed slightly. "I can do more than that. I have contacts within the Vigil, old friends of my late partner. They owe him loyalty. And they will provide cover if we need to move quickly. I cannot communicate openly, but I can send encrypted instructions." Elias felt a rush of gratitude mixed with apprehension. This was bigger than anything he had ever faced. And yet, together, they were forming a network capable of countering even a skilled enemy. They split tasks. Elias focused on the colony's communication lines, creating encrypted channels that only their team could access. Lila and Harris worked on the drones and satellite network, testing movement patterns, sensor readings, and emergency protocols. Saren monitored the Vigil's data streams, quietly intercepting and analyzing signals from hidden agents. Hours passed in a blur of concentration. The small command center hummed with activity, a symphony of quiet determination. Even the aliens who had joined them contributed, offering technical knowledge and strategic insights that Elias could never have imagined. Finally, around mid-afternoon, Saren held up a glowing finger. "I've found something." Elias rushed over. She pointed at a line of code in the Vigil's data stream, a pattern that suggested an agent was already in the colony. "They are here," she said softly. "They have been observing the colony, waiting for the right moment. If we act carelessly, they will know." Elias's stomach tightened. The enemy was closer than he had thought. "Can we identify them?" he asked. Saren shook her head. "Not yet. But we can track anomalies, unusual power usage, sudden movements, odd communication signals. They will make mistakes." Elias nodded. "Then we'll wait. And when they slip up, we'll know." The next few days were a careful balance of preparation and observation. The team moved quietly, retrofitting drones, setting traps, and monitoring communications. Elias marveled at human ingenuity, how a few scraps of old technology could become a complex network of surveillance and defense. Every day, the team grew more confident, more synchronized. Saren watched them work and felt a strange sense of hope. Her grief had been heavy, almost paralyzing. But now, surrounded by humans willing to fight for what was right, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. She realized her late partner had been right to trust humans. Their unpredictability, their creativity, and their resilience could not be underestimated. On the fourth day, the first sign of trouble appeared. A small maintenance drone, one that Elias had modified, reported an unusual energy spike near the outer perimeter of the colony. Elias examined the data carefully. "This isn't normal," he said. "It's too precise to be a natural fluctuation." Saren nodded. "It's them. One of the rogue agents. They are testing defenses, probing weaknesses." Elias called a quick meeting with the team. "We have an intruder," he said. "We don't know who it is yet, but they're here. That means our timeline is shorter than we thought. We need to be ready to respond at a moment's notice." Harris leaned back, arms crossed. "We've anticipated this. Our drones can intercept. Our satellites can track. And Saren can monitor their communications. They won't know what hit them," Lila added. "And we can use the colony's gravity fields to our advantage. I've run simulations. If we position the drones correctly, we can create artificial obstacles that confuse any ship approaching the colony." Elias smiled, despite the tension. "Good. Humans fight with brains as much as they do with tools. That's what makes us dangerous." As the sun set, Casting long shadows across the metallic domes of the colony, Elias and Saren reviewed the final preparations. "We are ready," Elias said. "We've done everything we can to prepare. Now, we wait and watch." Saren nodded. Her glow pulsed gently, a mixture of determination and quiet pride. "Yes. And when the time comes, humans will prove why they cannot be underestimated." That night, the first direct contact occurred. A small reconnaissance ship, cloaked and silent, approached the colony. Harris tracked it immediately, his eyes scanning the satellite feeds. "We've got movement," he said. "They're close, too close for comfort." Elias leaned over the display, analyzing the readings. "Activate the drones, keep them at a distance, but do not engage fully. Let's observe how they move, learn their tactics." The drones, now equipped with sensors and defensive protocols, moved silently through the colony's perimeter. They detected heat signatures, energy emissions, and communication bursts. Elias and the team recorded every detail, building a clearer picture of the rogue faction's strategies. Saren intercepted one of the agent's encrypted messages. She decoded it quickly, her glowing fingers moving over the holographic interface. "They plan to strike within 3 days," she said quietly. "Their fleet will move fast and hit the colony from multiple angles. They expect humans to panic." Elias's jaw tightened. "We won't panic. We'll be ready. Humans don't fight like they expect. We adapt, improvise, and survive. That's our strength." The team spent the rest of the night refining their strategies. They practiced simulations, ran through emergency protocols, and reinforced their communication channels. Each member of the team understood their role, their responsibility, and the stakes. By morning, the colony appeared peaceful again. But the tension was palpable. Everyone knew the rogue faction was out there, waiting, planning, watching, and everyone knew that when they struck, it would be a test of human ingenuity, courage, and determination. Elias walked to the edge of the dome, looking out at the vastness of space. He felt a mix of fear and excitement. The rogue faction was powerful, but humans were unpredictable. That unpredictability, combined with creativity and courage, gave them an edge no enemy could anticipate. Saren joined him, her glow steady. "They are clever," she said softly. "But humans fight differently. That is why they will win." Elias smiled faintly. "Then we'll prove it. Not just for the colony, but for every human settlement that depends on us. We won't fail." The coming days would bring tests, challenges, and danger unlike anything the colony had ever faced. But Elias, Saren, and their team were ready. They had created a hidden network, a web of surveillance and defense, combining human creativity and alien knowledge. They were prepared to face the rogue faction head-on, and when the time came, the galaxy would see why humans could never be underestimated. For now, they waited. But waiting was not idle. They were preparing, learning, and strengthening. Every second, every observation, every small adjustment brought them closer to the moment when they would show the rogue Vigil faction the true power of human ingenuity. Elias glanced at Saren one last time before returning to the command center. "We are ready," he said. "And when they strike, they will regret underestimating us." Saren's glow brightened, a silent agreement. Together, humans and their alien allies would face the coming storm. And together, they would prevail. The calm of the colony's morning was a fragile illusion. Elias stood on the observation deck of his small command center, staring at the blinking lights of the outer defense satellites. Every reading told the same story. The rogue Vigil faction was mobilizing, and their strike was imminent. Beside him, Saren's glow pulsed steadily. She had been awake all night, monitoring data streams, intercepting communications, and quietly issuing instructions to their hidden network. "They're close," she said softly. "I can feel it in their transmissions. The strike fleet is on its way." Elias nodded, his jaw tight. "Then we fight smart, not just with weapons, but with creativity. Improvised tactics. That's how humans win when they are outnumbered. Harris, the retired pilot, adjusted the controls of a small tactical display. We've positioned the drones along the outer perimeter. I've overclocked the engines and sensors. They'll think our defenses are standard, but we've hidden surprises. Lila, the engineer, tapped rapidly on her console. The gravity fields are ready. If any of their ships try to approach too quickly, we can create artificial obstacles and redirect them. They won't expect it. Elias studied the plans. Every detail mattered. One mistake, one miscalculation, could mean the colony's destruction. Yet, amidst the tension, he felt a strange confidence. Humans had always found ways to survive, to turn disadvantage into strength. This would be no different. By mid-morning, the first signs of the enemy appeared. Sensors picked up a small group of reconnaissance ships moving through the outer sectors, cloaked but detectable through subtle energy distortions. Harris's hands moved swiftly over the controls. They're testing the perimeter. Let's see how they respond to a little human creativity. Elias nodded. Activate the drones. Don't engage fully, just enough to confuse them. The drones sprang to life, moving in unpredictable patterns, projecting false signals, and creating energy distortions that mimicked a stronger defense network. The reconnaissance ships slowed, their pilots unsure. Elias's team watched the holographic feeds carefully, noting every maneuver. They're cautious, Saren said, her glow brightening. That's good. Hesitation can be dangerous for them. Hours passed as the reconnaissance ships probed the perimeter, testing for weaknesses. Each time, the human team responded with improvisation. Drones shifted positions. Gravity fields created sudden barriers. And communication loops sent false alerts to the enemy fleet. Elias marveled at the way humans thought creatively, unpredictably, and without fear of unconventional solutions. By evening, the rogue faction realized their probe was compromised. They regrouped, calling in a larger fleet. Elias and the team were ready. The colony's defenses had been strengthened, but more importantly, the enemy did not know what they would face. Saren sent encrypted instructions to her allies within the vigil, buying precious time. They will expect a straightforward fight, she said quietly. We will give them something else entirely. The first real strike arrived just after sunset. Ships emerged from hyperspace near the colony's outer ring, their engines glowing red against the dark void of space. Harris's voice rang out, calm and steady. They're here. Let's remind them. Humans aren't predictable. The drones moved in synchronized chaos, using gravity slingshots and rapid maneuvers to intercept incoming attacks. The enemy fired lasers and plasma bursts, but the human-controlled drones dodged with impossible agility. Some even used the colony's gravity fields to ricochet shots back at the attackers, damaging a few small ships. Inside the command center, Elias's heart pounded. He relayed instructions to the team with precise timing. Lila monitored energy flows and field projections, while Saren directed alien allies to disrupt enemy communications. Each action was calculated, yet adaptive, responding to the enemy's moves in real time. The rogue faction quickly realized they had underestimated humans. They are clever, one officer muttered over the comm channel. Our sensors cannot predict their actions. Elias smiled faintly. Exactly, he said. That's why they lose. Despite the chaos, the human team remained focused. They were outnumbered, yes, but their unpredictability turned the tide. They used old satellites to create false targets, lured enemy ships into traps, and even hacked some systems to redirect fire. Every ship the rogue faction sent toward the colony faced resistance they could not anticipate. Saren watched with pride. Her late partner had believed in humans' ingenuity, and now she saw it in action. They fought not with brute strength, but with creativity, intelligence, and teamwork. Every improvisation, every unconventional tactic, demonstrated why humans could never be taken lightly. Hours into the battle, one of the enemy's ships attempted a direct assault on the colony's main dome. Harris calculated the trajectory quickly. We can use the gravity field to sling the incoming ship off course. It won't destroy them, but it will buy time. Elias nodded. Do it. And ready the drones for interception. The maneuver worked perfectly. The attacking ship was deflected into space. Damaged but not destroyed. It was a small victory, but it boosted the team's morale. They realized that even against a superior enemy, they could hold the line. Saren intercepted another communication. They're planning to target the colony's power grid next, she said. If they succeed, the defenses fail, and the colony will be vulnerable. Elias quickly devised a countermeasure. We'll create decoy energy signals. Make them think the grid is in one place, while the real grid remains protected. Then, when they attack, we can respond with full force. The plan worked. The rogue faction's attack missed its mark, and several ships were caught in a trap set by the human team. The enemy fleet faltered, confusion spreading among their ranks. As the battle continued, Saren transmitted the evidence of the rogue faction's conspiracy to the galaxy using her late partner's authentication codes. This was their final move, not just to protect the colony, but to ensure the truth reached those who could stop further attacks. The rogue faction, unaware that their plan had been exposed, continued their assault. But now, their morale faltered. Ships were damaged, systems compromised, and their carefully laid plans unraveled. By midnight, the battle slowed. The rogue faction, recognizing the unexpected resistance, began to retreat. Harris tracked the retreating ships. They're pulling back. They didn't expect humans to fight like this. Elias allowed himself a small smile. They never do. The colony had survived. Not because of overwhelming force, but because of human ingenuity, creativity, and determination. The combination of improvised tactics, clever use of technology, and Saren's alien knowledge had turned the battle in their favor. Saren's glow brightened, reflecting both relief and pride. Your species, humans, you truly cannot be underestimated, she said softly. My partner believed it, and now I see it myself. Elias nodded, exhausted but exhilarated. We fight not just for survival, but to prove that humans, when united and creative, are a force the galaxy must respect. The team gathered in the command center, tired but triumphant. They had faced a superior enemy and survived. The colony remained safe, and the evidence of the rogue faction's conspiracy had been sent across the galaxy. Saren looked around at the human faces, glowing softly in the dim light. This is only the beginning, she said. The galaxy knows now what humans can do, and those who threaten us will think twice before underestimating your kind. Elias felt a swell of pride. They had fought with ingenuity, courage, and cooperation. They had shown that even against overwhelming odds, humans could adapt, improvise, and triumph. The colony, for now, was safe. But the memory of the battle, the strategies, and the teamwork would remain. Humans had proven, once again, that they were unpredictable, resourceful, and resilient. And the galaxy had taken notice. As the first light of dawn touched the metallic domes, Elias and Saren stood together, looking at the colony they had saved. They had faced the rogue faction, and survived not because they were the strongest, but because they were human. And for the first time in months, Saren allowed herself to hope. Humans had shown her the strength of unpredictability, the power of creativity, and the courage to fight for what was right. The battle was over, but the story of human ingenuity had only just begun. The first rays of light touched the metallic domes of Cygnus 4, painting the colony in soft gold. The battle had ended, but the aftermath was only beginning. Elias walked through the streets of the colony, surveying the quieted chaos. There were no signs of destruction thanks to the clever use of drones, gravity fields, and quick improvisation, but the tension lingered. Everyone had been on edge, aware that the rogue Vigil faction had planned to destroy them. Saren moved beside him, her glow calm and bright. The evidence has been transmitted, she said. The galaxy knows the truth. The rogue faction will face judgment, and the Vigil will have to answer for their actions. I am. Reason. Elias nodded. It's not just about surviving. It's about making sure this doesn't happen again. Humanity can't be blamed for something we didn't do. Saren smiled faintly. Your species is remarkable. You are creative, persistent, and unafraid to act when others hesitate. My late partner saw that. Now the galaxy will see it too. As they walked, the team gathered in the central plaza of the colony. Humans and alien allies alike were tired, but there was a quiet pride in their expressions. They had faced overwhelming odds and come out victorious, not through brute force, but through ingenuity, planning, and courage. Harris, the retired pilot, clapped Elias on the shoulder. You led well. We adapted, improvised, and survived. That's human ingenuity for you. Lila smiled, exhausted but happy. And we didn't just survive. We fought smart, used the environment, and turned their own tactics against them. Humans aren't predictable. And that's why we won. Elias felt a warm pride in their words. They had proven themselves not only to the galaxy but to each other. Humans had always thrived under pressure, and this battle was no different. Saren turned to Elias. There's more. My contacts in the Vigil have confirmed that the rogue faction leaders have been arrested. Their fleet has been grounded. The galaxy now recognizes the strength and value of humanity. Your actions here have saved countless lives and changed opinions across star systems. Elias exhaled slowly, a mixture of relief and disbelief. All this because we refused to give up. Yes, Saren said softly. Because humans fight with something no other species fully understands. Adaptability, creativity, and the will to survive, even when the odds are against them. The colony began to recover quickly. Repairs were made to infrastructure, drones were returned to maintenance, and the energy grid stabilized. But beyond physical repair, there was a sense of new purpose. Humans and their allies had proven that cooperation, intelligence, and determination could overcome even superior enemies. Elias found himself reflecting on the late-night knock that had started it all. If Saren had never come to his door, the colony might have been destroyed. But her visit had sparked a chain of events that not only saved lives but also strengthened bonds between humans and alien species. Saren's glow dimmed slightly, a sign of quiet emotion. I have lost someone dear, she said, but I have also gained new hope. Humanity, your species, has shown me what is possible when courage meets creativity. I will never forget this. Where? Crow. Where? Crow. Crow. Where Kuro? Where Kuro? Elias looked at her. Neither will I. You trusted humans when others might not have. And that trust made all the difference. Over the next few days, representatives from the Vigil arrived in the colony. Their purpose was to review the situation, ensure justice was served, and discuss the future of interstellar cooperation. The team that had defended the colony was recognized publicly, though the true scale of their ingenuity remained largely secret, known only to those who had been directly involved. The Vigil representatives were careful in their praise, but their respect was genuine. Humans, one officer said, have shown adaptability and courage that we have underestimated. Your species' unpredictability is remarkable. 17. Elias allowed himself a small smile. He thought of all the improvisations, the risks, and the moments of fear turned into triumph. Humanity had once again proven why it could not be underestimated in the galaxy. Saren joined him on the observation deck, looking out at the calm, star-strewn sky. The galaxy has changed, she said, and humans will be remembered not for their weapons, but for their ingenuity and determination. Elias nodded. We've shown that strength isn't always about power. Sometimes it's about ideas, creativity, and courage. Saren's glow pulsed brightly. I will help ensure that alliances between humans and aliens grow stronger. Your species deserves allies, respect, and recognition, and perhaps, new friendships. Elias smiled. We'll need all of those things. The galaxy is large, and challenges will come. But for now, we've won. And we've proven that humans can fight and protect what matters. The team gathered once more in the central plaza to celebrate quietly. There were no grand parades, no banners, but the sense of accomplishment was palpable. They had faced a powerful enemy, overcome impossible odds, and ensured the safety of the colony. And they had done it together, humans and aliens united by courage and ingenuity. Saren approached Elias, her glow warm. I came to you with a request that seemed impossible. And you answered. You showed what humans can do when they rise to a challenge. For that, I am grateful. Elias shrugged, smiling faintly. I just did what humans do. We adapt, we create, and we fight when we have to. That's all. Not all, Saren said softly. You inspired hope. And that is something the galaxy will remember. As the day ended, Elias and Saren stood on the observation deck once more. The colony was quiet, safe, and alive. The rogue faction had been defeated, justice had been served, and humanity's reputation had been elevated among the stars. Elias looked at the distant stars, thinking of all the colonies, all the people who depended on vigilance, courage, and creativity. Humanity had proven that it could rise to any challenge, even when the odds seemed impossible. Saren's glow dimmed slightly, a sign of contentment. There will be other challenges, she said, but humans will be ready. That is why I trust you, and why the galaxy must learn to respect your kind. Elias nodded, feeling the weight of her words. They had faced the rogue faction, survived, and changed the course of the galaxy. And in doing so, they had proven the essence of humanity. Unpredictable, inventive, resilient, and courageous. The stars shone above, silent witnesses to the triumph of creativity, determination, and unity. Humanity had fought, and humanity had won, not with brute force, but with ingenuity and heart. As Elias looked at Saren, he realized that their partnership had changed both of them. She had found hope again, and he had found purpose beyond his small workbench. Together, they had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. And the galaxy would never forget the lesson humanity had taught. Never underestimate humans. For now, peace returned to the colony. Repairs continued. Alliances were strengthened. And the team rested. But the memory of the battle, the ingenuity displayed, and the courage shown would remain. Humans had proven once again why they were a force to be respected in the galaxy. And as the first night fell over Cygnus 4 after the battle, Elias whispered to himself, We may be small, but we are clever, we are brave, and we will always find a way. Saren stood beside him, her glow softly illuminating the observation deck. Yes, she said, and the galaxy will know it too. Together, they watched the stars, knowing that the fight had been won, that humanity had proven its worth, and that new alliances and new possibilities awaited. The colony was safe. Humanity had triumphed, and the galaxy would never forget the day humans, unpredictable and brilliant, rose to defend what mattered most.